Okay, so on to the next track in Sammy's Kicks and Flats Addict series, man. Absolutely awesome series so far. I implore you guys to go right through to the beginning. If you're only landing on this video now, go right through to the beginning of the series and start listening to from there. It starts off with the Metallica trilogy, which is absolutely epic, and we move into really amazing tracks. This one over here is another Tool track, man. We reacted to our first Tool song a couple of days ago. A lot of you guys really enjoyed that, and I appreciate all the what toolers is it toolers that came through and watched and supported the channel and left all the comments and everything else. That's great. I did see that a lot of people had requested this track already then, but now it's part of the series, which is awesome. It's part of Sammy's series. So let's rock and roll, man. Let's react to our second Tool track and see what this one over here is about. And yeah, for those of you who are interested in the custom series products, I'm leaving a link down in the pinned comment. Like I said, I'm waiting for 3 more series for October, then we're closing off October, and then there's no more bookings. But we've got 3 more slots left in October for anybody who's interested in doing a series. Let's rock and roll, man. Let's see what we've got. Tool Sober, let's go. Let's just go back over here. Firstly, that instrumentation is absolutely fire. I love that intro. Nice little long instrumental intro over there. Amazing. Love the electric guitar. Love absolutely everything. What I did notice straight off the bat is how different this already sounds from their first track, The Pot, right? Not terribly different, but it does have a completely different sound. And I think 1 or 2 people did actually mention that their sound is kind of like sort of all over the show. They're very different. They're like a genre onto themselves to a certain degree. And you can actually notice this over here. You can already hear a difference in their sound. So they've just got a different variety of sounds, which I think is awesome. But anyway, let's get into the
every promise empty, pointing every finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler, who upon the finger rests, murder now the path must we, just because the sun has come. Jesus wasn't trying to wrestle something.
Bro, you know the thing about Tool, even from their last track to this track, their metaphors are fucking sensational. Absolutely sensational. This over here where they're talking about every shadow behind me, shrouding and taking every step I take, right? And pointing, wait, let's just go back over here because that is absolutely brilliant. Let me just go back quickly. Give me a second, sorry guys. I love that. Every shadow right behind me, shrouding every step I take, making every promise empty. So it's almost as if he's trying to project that and he's trying to place the blame on the shadows, on the demons themselves. But what he doesn't realize, what he actually realizes, and that's the whole metaphor of it, is that I'm the one casting the shadows. So I'm the one breaking the promises, right? But it's as if he's kind of like projecting out. He's placing the blame on the shadows themselves as opposed to actually owning that blame. And that is just when someone is going through the throes of something, whether it comes, I don't know, addiction, or when it comes to making the wrong choices in terms of maybe cheating on somebody, blah, 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 blah. You created that world for yourself, all right? And now that you have to sleep in it, those shadows are talking, and the majority of people will just cast that out and they'll project it, and it's like, no, it's not me, right? It's just these shadows that are following me. I'm just unlucky, you know what I mean? Which is, it's very cool.
Every step I take, making every promise empty, pointing every finger at me, waiting like a stalking butler, who upon the finger rests.
Fire. Waiting like a stalking butler who upon the finger rests. Like, just fucking fantastic writing over here. Like, a butler is there to serve you. So these shadows, it's almost like these shadows are there behind him and never leaving him, right? So it's almost like a butler is there to serve, and these shadows are supposed to be are not actually serving you, but they are there like a butler, like a butler who's always around, right? And it's almost like if you're looking for the wrong decision, right? It's almost like the devil is there waiting like a butler saying, oh, no, it's cool. I'm happy to action that decision for you. You know what I mean? It's almost like that darkness in your ear that's always there, willing to serve you, but only in the more sort of destructive things. You know what I mean? Fire.
Must we, just because the sun is come? Jesus wants to try and wrestle something with the past is done. Jesus wants to try and wrestle something with the past is done. Why can't we not be sober? Just want to start this over.
So over here, this is where he speaks about the actual vice, essentially. So this over here is what's creating the shadows, is actually his love for the addiction, for the actual vice itself. So over here, why can't we drink forever? Why can't we be sober? So he's basically asking like two questions that kind of collide. Like they don't work together. And it's like, I want to be sober. I want to be in a space of clarity, but I also want to drink because I want to numb myself because, you know, I've got too much pain in my life, essentially. So it's almost like a cry for help, where it's like, I really do want to see the world for what it is, and I want to feel things like genuinely and authentically, right? But I also want to be numbed by the addiction as well, right? So and that's what's causing the shadow, and it's almost like that vice over there, that is the butler over there. So it's kind of like he can feel that behind him. So even if he takes the decision to be like, no, I'm going to be sober today, right? It almost feels like he's got the finger on the button for the butler, and he feels like the butler's there. He feels that he can call upon at any time, which is the alcohol. The butler is the representation of the actual vice itself, the alcohol, right? So it's basically like, if I want it, I can get it. Like, no one's stopping me, you know, it'll be at my service instantaneously, right? And I can feel it behind me, and I know I can do that, but I also don't want to do that because I really want to feel the world in a realistic, authentic sense. So yeah, anyway. Complicate you, trust in me and fall as well, right? So he's basically saying that within that vice, he's become an untrustworthy person. That's what actually comes of addiction, right? You can't be trusted. You can't be relied upon. And if you do trust in him, he will take you down the same path. He will literally, he'll disappoint you. Actually, wait a second. No, wait a second. Just go back. No, okay, that's one part. But now I'm actually something else popped into my mind here. Wait.
I'm just a worthless lawyer. I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and fall as well. I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. I will work to elevate you, just enough to bring it down.
Fire. You see that line over there? That's where it kind of like, that's where I actually was, I was going there and I thought, no, now you're getting too philosophical and you're going a little bit, off the reservation over here. But this line almost kind of confirms it for me. So I will work to elevate you just enough to bring you down. Right? And that's actually speaking from the drug's perspective, as if we're actually giving human characteristics to a drug, right? So it's the drug or the alcohol or the vice itself is operating as this individual person that is now speaking to that person, right? So it's like, I'm a liar, in terms of like, yes, you can trust me to feel good, but I will bring you down. I will elevate you, sure, right? But just enough to bring you down, essentially. So I like that he's actually speaking of that in that sense, because the vice itself is, we only chase the vices because of that momentary feeling of joy or numbness or whatever else, right? That's why we chase the vices. We wouldn't do that. I mean, if what you got from getting like drunk, if what you got from alcohol was just the hangover, you wouldn't have alcohol. Do you know what I mean? It actually is that momentary pleasure. It's that cheap vice. It's the cheap happinesses that we actually chase. So these things are not long-lived, but they are so deeply and utterly destructive at the end of the day that we don't even think for the greater consequence of it. Like, right? We know that there's a consequence comes with all consequences of this sort of addiction and alcoholism and all that kind of crap is going to be detrimental to our health, detrimental to our existence, detrimental to our family cohesions, detrimental to our work, is detrimental to us as people, detrimental to our soul as people. But numbing that pain and chasing those temptations and those decadences, if just for a moment, is worth all of the destruction that comes afterwards, right? And that's what's crazy about it.
I will chew it up and leave. I will work to elevate you, just enough to bring it down.
Coming from a very, very dark place over here, pleading, regretfulness, anguish, and all of that, and that is what comes with these kind of things. That's what comes with alcoholism and handling it. I've never sort of understood that personally. I know that it's a difficult thing to handle, but I'm saying from your mental capacity, if you actually have to sort of like dumb this down to the simplest notion of it, at the end of the day, like, I can accept being manipulated by people because people can outsmart me, right? They'll pull the wool over my eyes and they'll outsmart me. Some people are just really good, really articulate, and very sort of shifty, that they can't get the better of me because they've outplayed me and outsmarted me. what for me personally, I don't understand as to how I can be bested or outsmarted by a substance. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it makes you feel good. Even in my 20s, you'd have drinks and you go out and party with the boys and that kind of thing. Never was one that turned to the drugs because I never felt I needed to. At the end of the day, never was the one that, even though I've had my binge in my 20s, I was always able to control myself. I've never been one that has been completely and utterly paralytic to the point that I can't control. Like the moment I have a beer, I have to have 20 at the end of the day, because I just don't understand how I can allow a substance to have that power over my own mental capacity at the end of the day. All right? I can understand if a human being is able to get the best of me, but for a liquid and a powder to get the best of me, that just really plays into that just really speaks to a major weakness on my part, essentially. And I know it's not the same for everybody, and I know that some people might get offended by that. It's like, well, you don't understand and blah blah blah. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't understand. I don't understand how a powder and a liquid can get the better of somebody who's a rational, like, grown human with a thinking brain. At the end of the day, it's like for me, those two things cannot compute. So yeah, sure, maybe I don't understand it, maybe because I've not been through it and stuff like that. But the reason I haven't been through it is because I don't allow myself to go through it. I don't allow myself that level of gluttony for substances, because I don't believe that a powder can hold more power over my mental faculties and over me as a person. I've got free will. I can control these things. I can have restraint. So I don't believe I've had people get the better of me because they've outsmarted me, but I've never had a substance or a liquid get the better of me. I mean, they can't even fucking talk or make an argument. For me personally, I don't get it. But again, each to their own. Everyone has their own fights and battles with certain things, and everyone has their weaknesses and strengths. And where your strengths lie, maybe where's my weaknesses lie, and where my weaknesses lie is where your strengths are. I don't know. Let's see.
Just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and fall as well. I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. Trust me, trust me, trust me.
I love that. I will find a center in you, as if he's talking about like a sweet, like a soft center in a sweet. Right, so I will find a center in you where you are your softest, right? Because you're a sweet person, and I'll find the center of that, right, where it's the softest, and then I will chew it up and leave, essentially. So the sweetest side of you, the most like beautiful part of you, the softer side of you, I will chew it up and I will completely decimate it. Clever. Again, playing with the metaphors, very smart.
Trust me, trust me, trust me. Why can we not be sober? Just want to stop playing over. Why can't we sleep forever? I just want to start this over.
This stop motion animation video is also very, very clever as well, even with regards to like the haunted house and with regards to like the disfigured little characters in there, and then all of the like the different apparatus that for torture, right? So it's almost like this torturous mansion, and that's kind of what it makes you. It's kind of what this drug makes you. It's like it just tortures you from within, right? And all these little demons and skeletons in the closet are all getting to work at different facets of your body and your soul, right? And nailing nails in there and keeping you completely twisted and tied in this confusion and agony of what is meant to feel great, but then eventually becomes very sort of dark and demonic, essentially, because of it is a really bad space to be in, and it almost feels like it's this world that's within you, that something else is operating within you, as if you've got no sort of control of it, essentially. But I think, yeah, I mean, I guess that's what addiction is, right? Addiction is going down that path. And there's always a gateway to this kind of thing where people are like, oh, it's not bad that you can play the denials. No, it's, you know, it's like it's only this and it's only that and it's only that and it's only that and it's only that. And before you know, you've just enveloped yourself in a world that you just literally cannot get out of. But like I said, for me, I just don't play in that world. I just literally don't even get into that world. You know what I mean? I don't go through the first gate. Therefore, I don't have to deal with the 50th gate and trying to get out of all of it. So that's just me personally. But hey, everybody has their demons. Everybody has their stories to tell. Who am I to judge? I love you all. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. I'll catch you in the next one.